Hey, what's up everybody? This your girl Kiki, and this is Kiki Pretty Life 23. What's up everybody, this your girl Kiki and welcome to my channel. If this is your first time here, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. I would appreciate it. So I'm just going to show you another one of my projects that I have finished, and I did do some video shorts on YouTube of showing the whole process and everything. So this is pretty much going to be a more longer video, so if you're interested in watching, stick around. This is not going to be too much of a tutorial, just more of like showing you how I made it, because every time I wear one of my crochet projects out, a lot of people ask me, hey, how do you make it? So I'm gonna show you the step-by-step process of how I make it. Again, it's not gonna be too much of a tutorial, just kind of showing you how I make it. So it's really good for people who already been crocheting, so you can kind of get an idea of how it's put together. But otherwise than that, if you are interested, you can stick around and watch this video. If not, it's all good. It's all good. Still got love here. But anyways, let's get started. Alright y'all, so this was me when I first started on the project here. Now I was sick in this video. This was like the very first day and I was not feeling well at all. So it gave me plenty of time to get started on this project. So I started on the back panel of it first. Now when I ordered this yarn, y'all, I did not know it was going to be that big. I'm still new to reading how the measurements work as far as like the amount of yards and having an idea of how big the skein is going to be. So I did not know they was going to be that big. Because otherwise I would have just ordered one, but this is the color I didn't want anyways. It was actually for another project that I was working on, but the color wasn't what I wanted. So instead of wasting it, just trying to give it away, I decided to put it to good use. All right, so yeah, this is the brand here, Pound of Love, Lion brand. Now it does recommend to use a 5mm or no 6mm crochet hook, but I use a 4.5 only because I like my stitches a little bit more tighter. So I usually go a size or a size and a half below the recommended size for a crochet hook. So that's just how I do it. But as you can see, this back panel is pretty much being worked on, and pretty much the stitches, it's like a granny square stitch. So if you crochet before, a granny square is kind of like similar to that, except that you're just doing it all horizontally. So you're just doing it side by side by side across. So pretty much this pattern was very easy to follow. You can also look it up on YouTube. There's plenty of tutorials of it, but if you definitely do want me to do a tutorial of how to do this granny square pattern at least, or not granny square pattern, but the granny stitch pattern, if you want me to show you how I do it, I could definitely give y'all a full detailed video of how I did it. So please let me know. Otherwise than that, I'm just kind of showing you how I do it. So it's a super easy pattern. Like basically after you get past the first 2 rows, because usually after you make your chain, then what I like to do is do a single stitch for my first row all across, and then I start on a granny square stitch. And pretty much like you first have to count your stitches, because when you first start off on your second row, you kind of have to count each stitch that you're going to skip. So like you're literally skipping like every 2 stitches and going on the 3rd stitch and creating 3 double crochet stitches on the 3rd one. So it's like a pattern, you know. And then after that, you pretty much don't even have to like count any stitches. You just put in 3 double crochet stitches in each and every hole. So if you crochet before, you kind of understand what I'm saying, but again, if you don't get it, that's totally fine. I'm a bad teacher, but I could definitely do better showing you than just talking about it. But again, I did learn this off of YouTube, so there's plenty of tutorials out there that show you how to do this, but this is pretty much how it came out, and it came out really nice. It looks kind of like almost like flowers, and even though I did not care for the color that I was going for one of my projects, I still like it, just for the fact that I'm not wasting this yarn, and I was able to still put it into good use, even though I was disappointed that it wasn't the color that I wanted for one of my projects. So it is what it is. So this was the amount of yarn that I ended up have left over after I finished my back panel. You can see I still have plenty left. Like I was rarely hitting the surface of the skein. Like the skein is so big, y'all. Honestly, you could probably fit about like 3 or 4 skeins in one in this, because it was just so huge. So I still had a lot to go, and I had to get to the second one too. So now we're going to fast forward just a little bit. So this is how the back panel ended up looking, and I did end up doing the front panels as well. So the front panels is pretty easy to do. All you gotta do is basically take the back panel and split it in half. Now the only thing that I did not learn my lesson on was making sure that I created a collar, a little dip in the front, because that's where you get a lot of space at. So what I had to do was I had to take the first few rows out, and I did have to start over on the top rows for the front panel, but that was pretty much the shape that I was going for. So I was going for more like a V shape, but I forgot to do that because I was so carried away with crocheting that I was not paying attention. So I did have to fix that part a little bit, but yeah, that was pretty much it. Now luckily with granny square stitches, they don't really take too long to do, so I was able to just start over with the top part and just fix that right quick. So after fixing it, this is how I ended up looking now. So I was able to get that V shape going on. So that's what I was looking for. Again, I was not paying attention when I was crocheting. I was just crocheting my heart away, just doing whatever. And yeah, was not paying attention to the fact that I needed that line up in the front. So I ended up fixing that, and it came out good. So now I have to get started on the arm. So what I did was that I started off my rows already with the single stitches and then the granny square stitch. So this is pretty much how it looks before I start really going in and start really doing the granny square stitches all across without having to count each and every stitch. But pretty much I just again started off with some single chains, and then I measure my arm length, and then I'm kind of having an idea of how wide I want my arm pieces to be, because I want to make sure that it's not too tight, but I also want to make sure that it fits just right, you know, like a little loose. So these little yellow things that you see on there are actually markers, so it kind of gives me an idea of where I should start and stop at. So that's pretty much how big the arms are going to be going around my arm. So, and it fits perfectly on me, so it was good to go. Now another thing I also did as well, just to kind of get it a head start, was I also went ahead and crocheted together the shoulder pieces on the top. So I only crocheted the shoulder pieces, but I did not crochet the rest, because I kind of like to start my way up and work my way down when I'm crocheting pieces together, because I feel like it gives it a more flatter, more smoother look. So I started off the top first, and then I went ahead and worked on the arms. Alright, so these were the arm pieces that I ended up finishing. So I did 4 of them, and then for each 2 I'm gonna crochet together. And what I usually do is that I attach the pieces first to the front panels, and then I crochet it together last, because again I like to start from the top and work my way to the bottom. So these is how they look, and then pretty much again the same width as where the yellow markers were at that I showed y'all at the beginning. That's pretty much how far I went down, and then I just counted my rows and then just make sure that they were the same amount of rows. So those are the arm pieces right there. So this is pretty much what it looks like before I attach the arm. So you can see, like, once you compare it to the front panel and the back panel of the sweater, you can see how it looks and how it's coming together. So that's pretty much the visualization. It's hard for me to say big words, but you kind of see an idea of how it's going to look before I crochet the pieces together. So this is pretty much a visual of me sewing the arms together with the cardigan, with the front panel and the back panel together. So it's a little tricky, because if you don't crochet on the right side, you could potentially end up crocheting the pieces on the wrong side, which I did once in this video. But as you can see, I'm just matching it to the marker where it stops at, which is at the shoulder. So that's why it's so important to have those little markers there, because basically you're gonna see where you at, because if not, you're gonna get so lost in this and you're not gonna know where to crochet, where to put everything together. It's just gonna be very confusing. Now if you want to know how I crochet the pieces together, some people do it with a it's called a yarn needle. So it's like a sewing needle, but it's a lot more thicker and bigger, so you can use it for yarn. A lot of people use that, and I tend to use it every now and then depending on what projects that I do. But most of my projects I do like to crochet together. I prefer to do that only because it just gives it a better look and more you don't really see too much of a difference once you flip it inside out and you see everything sewn, not sewn together, but crochet together. I use single chain stitches to crochet all my projects together, and it just, again, just blends in a lot better for me than a yarn needle. But You know, you use whatever you want to use as your project, and it ain't got nothing to do with me. But yeah, I'm just crocheting the arms together, and I'm doing one by one. So on one side here, I'm doing one of the arms, and then I'm gonna do the other side of the arms with the other piece, and then once I'm done with that, then I'm gonna crochet them together side by side. So you will kind of see that a little bit in the video. So once I crochet those two pieces of the arms together, now we're going to crochet the two pieces of the arms together side by side. So this is going down all the way up into the wrist, basically. So pretty much I took the markers off because I didn't really need them anymore, because now I already know where my arm pieces is at. So now I'm just doing it side by side at that point. So just to get a better look of how I did the arms, so you can see where I had crocheted at, how the stitches are kind of sticking out. So they're attached to the shoulder now. So the only thing I got to do left is go from the pits all the way to the wrists. So I took those two pieces together, made sure that it was nice and lined up, and then I went ahead and did the same thing. So just like what you saw earlier when I was crocheting the shoulders, and I was crocheting the pieces to the shoulder part of the cardigan, the arms. Now I'm going to do the same thing, going from side to side, making sure that they're nice and aligned together. So after crocheting the two arm pieces together, this is pretty much the look of how it looks once you flip the cardigan inside out. So you can see that's where I had attached the arm pieces to the shoulder at. And I do like to stretch it just a bit because sometimes it kind of looks a little caved in, but then once I stretch it out, it kind of smooths itself out. So I made sure that I did that as well. But yeah, that's how the arms end up looking. So then for this part, I'm working on the trim. So I'm working on the trim that's attached to the collar of the cardigan, and I'm working on the trim attached to the cuffs of the cardigan. So I'm working on both of those pieces, and I think in this video I was working on the cuffs. So after I got done doing the sleeves, then I worked on the bottom of the sleeves where my wrist will be at, and I went ahead and did that. And for the stitches, I did all single crochet stitches for the trim. Now some people also do trims with single crochet stitches with back loops. So there's a difference between doing single crochet stitches and then doing single crochet stitches with back loops. So if you need any details on that, let me know, and I could definitely show a tutorial of different type of stitches. Now I did about, let's see, I think 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9, I think I did about 9 stitches for this one. So because I didn't want the trim to be too long, get overlapping my hand, so I made sure that I count them. This is really crucial because you want to make sure everything looks even here. So again, if you're a crocheter, you would get it. You got to make sure that everything looks even. If not, you're gonna see the mistakes and you go wish that you would have counted. So that's pretty much what I was working on. So then after I got done with the trims on my sleeves, then I went ahead and put it on just to test out to make sure that the trim wasn't too tight around my wrist, and it actually ended up fitting perfectly. So this is how it ended up looking once I was finished. Okay, so this is me working on the trims for the rest of the cardigan. So this is me working on the buttonholes for my buttons. Now, again, if you do want a tutorial of how I do it, please let me know in the comments below. Otherwise than that, this is pretty much, as you can see, how I'm doing it. So again, this is very crucial to counter stitches because you want to make sure that the holes are spread evenly and that you know exactly how it's going to look because of where the buttons are going to go at. So they got to be spread very evenly. Now, for this cardigan, I did end up doing about 5 buttons, and so I pretty much did 5 holes on there, making sure they were spread evenly. Make sure that I counted my rows to make sure that they wasn't too far apart or too close together. So just counting is super important. But that's pretty much what I was working on. And then on the other side, I didn't put no holes because that's where the buttons were going to go at, so there was no point in putting holes on the other side. So that I just did straight up and down with single crochet stitches, and then I also did the bottom part in the collar as well. So just give y'all a full look of how the cardigan looks. So this is how it's looking so far. So you can see I still wasn't finished yet, but you kind of see the difference between where I did not add the trims and where I added the trims. So yeah, it was an ongoing process, and I did do the bottoms as well. So the bottoms were looking really clean, really good. I could do better with like making sure that they were aligned a little bit better on the bottom there, because you kind of see it was a little dip there, but it was totally fine. It still came out alright. But you can see even like the cuffs look pretty neat. So everything was just coming together nicely. Alright, so the only last finishing touches was to add the buttons. So I used these wooden brown buttons from Amazon, which I think will be perfect with this green, because I feel like brown wooden buttons and that nice neutral sage green color goes so well together. It just gives old-fashioned vintage, you know. So I had to use these buttons here, so I went ahead and I sewed them right onto the other side of the trim, and to make sure that they were aligned with the holes that I made on the other side of the trim. And then I also went ahead and added my name tag as well, because any project that I made, I gotta make sure I add my name to it, of course. So these were also made on Amazon as well. I got these custom made on there, and I got plenty of them. I think it came with like a 50 or 100 or something like that, but I had plenty. So I went ahead and sewed that on the inside, and so that is a stamp of approval from Kiki that this was made by me. So after putting on my finishing touches, this is how it ended up looking. So you can see the buttons are on there, the little tag is on there, and I'm just putting it on just to show y'all how it looks, and it fits so nice. It feels so cozy, so comfortable. Like, I absolutely love making my own crochet projects, and like I said, if y'all want to do a more detailed tutorial, y'all could definitely let me know, and I will definitely love to, you know, show y'all more on the crochet side of me, because even though I do nails on here as well, I do love doing my crochet projects. So just to give you an idea of how it looks once I button up the cardigan, so you can see it buttons up really nicely. It's not getting stuck. I'm not having a hard time getting it down. So this is definitely a button up type of cardigan that you could wear if you want to feel more cozy. But yeah, it lined up pretty well, and I like the fact that it came out so nice, y'all. Like, this was actually one of my favorite projects that I did so far as with the buttons this time, because I usually do zippers or I'll just not add anything in the front, but now I'm about to start adding some buttons to a lot more of my projects. So yeah, that is how the whole thing looks. So then I still had a whole lot of yarn left, y'all. So I had about a skein left. It was probably a little less than the skein. So I didn't know what I wanted to really do with it, because it's kind of hard finding other projects to do with this color. So I decided to make some matching sets. So this right here, I'm working on a beanie here. So this one, I also followed a tutorial for it, even though I was able to kind of freestyle it because I kind of had an idea what I was doing. I just needed that little, you know, that little jump, that little reminder. So I did end up working on this beanie right here. And then after I sewed the top, this is how I end up coming out. And I was really worried about it being too loose at first, but once I put it on, it actually ended up fit like really nicely, and it really covered my curly hair really well because I thought it was going to be a little too tight. Now I don't know why I was showing my head like I was showing off waves, like like I had waves on my head with something. But yeah, so it fit really nicely, y'all. It was very comfortable. Another thing that I was able to get out of the leftover yarn that I had was I was able to make a tube top. Now at first I was going to make a skirt out of it, which I did end up making the skirt at first, but the skirt was a little too short because I did not have enough yarn for it. So I ended up having to start all over, which if you watched one of my shorts on my channel, you would see that I did have to start all over, at least right down to the trims, which all I had to do was just shorten, and then I didn't have to do the whole trim over. I was able to just like start my way all the way back up. And again, with granny square stitches, they don't take too long to do like that, so I was able to get it all done in one day pretty quick. So but I was pretty disappointed when I did have to start over because it was really no way of fixing it. I had to just do it all over. But otherwise, this is how it came out once I ended up putting it on. Now, it was a little loose, as you can see. When I pulled it up, it kind of fell back down. So I did have to put some elastic at the top there. But as you can see, it fit really nicely, especially the trim on the bottom. I'm glad I made it extra long, so it kind of fits better around my stomach, around my waistline. So it was very nice. But it is a little see-through, so if you are going to wear something like this with a granny square pattern, do make sure that you wear like a tank top or like a sports bra or something that it will cover it, like a strapless bra or something, so that way it won't be sticking out. And then the last thing that I made with the last little bit of yarn that I had left was I ended up making a scrunchie, which somebody recommended me in the comment section for my last short that I had posted on what to do with my last leftover yarn. So I ended up making this really cute scrunchie here, which it actually came out really cute. So I absolutely love it. It looks kind of like, you know, on SpongeBob when you see those flowers up in the sky. It kind of looks like that, but it came out really cool. So I loved it. So after putting the whole outfit together, y'all, this is how it ended up looking, and it looks so good. I love that everything matches as well. So, and you're never gonna find this in any other store because I made this from Kiki, from my hands only. All right, but yeah, anyways, yeah, I was so glad I was able to use up all that yarn, y'all, because I did not know they was gonna be that big when I first got them, and then it wasn't a color that I first wanted anyway, so I was kind of mad, but I was so glad I was able to put this yarn into good use. So now I got a beanie, a tube top, a cardigan, and I got a cute little scrunchie that matches with it. So I am very happy and very satisfied with everything that came out, and I'm so glad that it didn't go to waste. So I want to thank y'all for watching, and I'll see y'all on my next one. I just want to appreciate everyone for watching my video. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button down below. It's going to be below my video. And also hit that notification bell for more updates on my content. Along with that, you can follow me on my other social media pages as well for more updates on my other content that I post outside of here. But anyways, I hope y'all have a good one. Stay safe out there and stay blessed. Goodbye.